Hello, dear friends. Almost all news are focused on the many reactions to the attack against Trump. Opinion piece, reverse tide, energy blackwash, political stupidity, before the tsunami, collective regression, withdrawal from sea, lack of common sense, imitating the Mayan people, riding the Zuvuya wave, a final scare event failed. Let's start. Before a tsunami, a retreat or withdrawal of the sea occurs, which is known as a sea retraction. The same can happen on a mental and social level before a social tsunami. It is useless to fight against the mainstream because it exhausts you. The smart thing is to rest as much as possible without ceasing to fulfill one's duties and wait for the tide to pass and the tsunami of energy to come. A tsunami is a gigantic wave produced by a tidal wave or a volcanic eruption at the bottom of the sea. A tsunami is a violent agitation of sea waters as a result of a shaking of the bottom, which sometimes spreads to the coast, giving rise to floods. Water can recede several meters along the coast before a tsunami, exposing part of the seabed. This retreat of the sea can be a key indicator of the imminence of a tsunami, and it is important to be attentive to this phenomenon in order to take measures in time. The same thing can happen on a mental level before a social tsunami. This regression is characterized by persistent exhaustion and a constant need for rest, and it is also characterized by the loss of common sense and the large amount of political nonsense we see every day in the media. Recoil. Like the physical retreat of the sea before a tsunami, psychological retreat refers to a defense mechanism that involves returning to an earlier stage of development to find comfort or security and helps reduce stress and cope with traumatic situations in the past. In sociology, social regression refers to a process of regression or deterioration in the living conditions and fundamental rights of a population. It is usually associated with economic crises, recessions, and regressive austerity policies. However, experts warn that the economic crisis should not be used as an excuse to deny rights to the population. The art of horse. It's about learning to ride the wave of energy without sinking like a surfer, instead of opposing it usually. It's about learning to ride the Zuvuya wave according to Jose Arguelles. Riding the Zuvuya wave is presented as a means to access a higher consciousness, connect with universal memory, and activate the magical dimension of existence, following the steps of Mayan spirituality. Zuvuya is a Mayan term to refer to this interdimensional channel that connects us to the great memory circuit with both the future and the past. Riding the Zuvuya involves connecting with this line of universal memory. Zuvuya is the force that drives synchronicity, so riding it allows you to access the magical dimension of existence and come into contact with the magical self. Riding the wave of Zuvuya connects us with an important part of our being, which some have forgotten over time. Learning to ride the Zuvuya involves adopting a mentality and a way of life similar to that of the Mayans, who were experts in this type of interdimensional travel. It consists of taking galactic excursions. According to Arguelles, the Zuvuya wave takes us on a magical journey that connects us with the most distant centers of the galaxy, transcending the physical dimension. Geopolitics. The countdown for the change of butter has begun, according to the X-22 report. The White House website has published a memorandum on the delegation of functions and authorities for fiscal year 2024 under the National Defense Authorization Act, signed by Joe Biden, which Benjamin Fulford interprets as the announcement of a government military starting July 9th. This announcement was made during NATO's 75th anniversary summit in Washington, D.C. Although the White House press release doesn't say who was given power, it is speculated that it was General Charles Brown, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. This news comes amid huge political developments over the past week, including the recent development of a Eurasian alliance. Reactions. Ismael Perez says that the final scare event failed thanks to the coalition's foresight. The assassination attempt strengthens Trump's candidacy. Donald Trump believes he is miraculously alive and says he has had a surreal experience. The Republican Party formally nominated Trump as its candidate. Trump chooses Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, 39, as his vice-presidential candidate. The Real Raw News report does not clarify much about the attack, but says that crazy conspiracy theories are being invented and that the drone was blocked minutes before the attack. The FBI believes that Thomas Matthew Crooks, author of the attack against Trump, acted alone. The director of the Secret Service summoned by Congress to testify about the attack. The Secret Service reinforces Trump's security for the rest of the election campaign. According to John Leake, the Secret Service has some explaining to do. There is no explanation for how a man with a rifle got to a rooftop just 120 meters from Trump with a clear line of sight. A judge dismisses the case against Trump for negligence in the use of classified documents. A Christian pastor predicted the attack on Trump 3 months ago. Al Jazeera's group of remote visionaries also foresaw the attacks. A channeler from the Nibiruan Council predicted the attack would fail. Now everyone says that they have got it right. Galactic Commander Valiantor says that the real Trump is safe in Cheyenne Mountain, and that it was his double who suffered the attack since he always wears a voice modulator, a white button-down shirt open, and at the neck and a caparette. Valiantor adds that the Space Force is located on the dark side of the moon. This base is called Lunar Base Clarion and is commanded by Aura Rain. It also explains that Pleiadian light beings flew the asteroid over Chelyabinsk, Russia, in February 2013, exploding it 5 miles above the ground. Economy. Trump's shooting has a big impact on stocks and treasuries. Stocks near record highs amid global turmoil as bets on Trump rise. Markets increase bets on Trump's electoral victory after the attack against him. Trump's and Tesla's shares rise after the assassination attempt. Trump's victory could trigger a massive refinancing boom and record home sales, experts say. Bitcoin rises to 2-week high as Trump's election odds improve. BlackRock claims Trump rally gunman showed in the company announcement. BlackRock withdraws at that included the Trump rally shooter. Billionaires love to put their thumbs on the political scale by throwing their money around to influence candidates and calling favors after their horse wins. Generation Zeta, those born between 1997 and 2012, will soon become the richest generation in history, according to a recent report. Silver shortage. Silver is not extracted quickly enough to meet demand as the money supply increases. As the money supply increases, so do future contracts. China reports GDP growth of 4.3% in the second quarter, missing its expectation. Europe. Industrial production in the Eurozone fell 2.9% year-on-year in May. Public debt deprives France of financial room for maneuver. Austria records the highest number of company bankruptcies in 15 years between January and June. The glut of watermelons in Romania leaves farmers in the lurch. The European Commission boycotts the Hungarian presidency due to Orban's trips to Moscow and Beijing. Modi in Moscow and Orban in Beijing, the multipolar world is becoming more dynamic. Hamas denounces that Israel attacked Gaza with prohibited weapons. 44% of Ukrainians believe it is time to start negotiations with Russia. Europe and the world are preparing for a labor slowdown. The employment giants announce a great cooling. The large manufacturer firms of human resources assume a very significant impact on their income, despite the fact that until now, unemployment is at history lows in advanced economies. The main companies in the sector warn of a powerful fall. Spain. Spain wins Euro Cup 2024 after beating England 2-1 in the final. Overwhelmed enthusiasm in Madrid upon receiving La Roja. Yolanda Díaz wants to raise taxes on investment funds. Americas. In quotes, nothing that means violence can be justified. AMLO speaks out of the attack against Trump. Mexico's expensive Maya train draws few passengers in its first 6 months of partial operation. Argentina wins the Copa America after beating Colombia in extra time. The Argentine people celebrated their victory. After Lautaro Martinez scored the winning goal, many Argentines headed to the Obelisk Monument in Buenos Aires to celebrate their 1-0 victory over Colombia in the Copa America final on Sunday. The government of Argentina will intervene in the parallel currency market to contain inflation. The Milei government promotes a lowering of the age of imputability in Argentina. Arce claims that the mega hydrocarbon field was discovered in Bolivia. Brazil almost doubled its import of Russian oil products in just 1 year. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.